Today, we are pulling back the curtain and we are entering a space and a place where very few have access to. We're going behind the broker's desk in one of the most challenging markets that we have seen in over 15 years. So get ready because this is not going to be the polished version. This is not going to be the social media glam and bling version. This is not going to be the presentation that you perhaps are expecting, because this version is where we're going to talk about the responsibility, the pressure, the leadership, the day in and day out hustle and grind that is required to lead from the front a very prosperous and powerful brokerage in the midst of the most hectic chaos that real estate agents are seeing and suffering and experiencing, but coming out on the other side. Today, we're going to talk about the difficult conversations. We're going to talk about the realities of what it takes to be a very successful real estate broker. I am so privileged to have this sit down conversation with one of Southwest Florida's most successful lady real estate brokers, someone that from the beginning has always gone above and beyond, someone that is extraordinary, someone that I admire and respect, someone that reminds me of my years of being a broker. So get ready, start sharing this, whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching it on replay. Give us a hashtag live. If you're live, give us a hashtag replay. If you're on replay, we are going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the wins, the losses, and the lessons, because that is what Agents in the Trenches is all about. And that is what I love to bring. Today, we are going to uncover so many things. And we're also going to be bringing some good news, because what this real estate broker is doing is setting a standard while she defies the odds that so many are experiencing. So I want to bring to the studio and the stage my dear friend and colleague, Heidy Olea, founder broker of the Olea Group. Welcome, Heidy.
Good afternoon, Lucy. Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing today?
I am excited to have this sit down with you. I think that this has been a long time waiting. Let's kick it off with you telling everyone, who is Heidy Olea, the broker, the woman, and the human being that is thriving in a market that is very challenging?
Yes. Well, I am Heidy Olea, as you can see. Thank you so much for that beautiful intro. I've been doing this for about 8 years now, so I have not been in the industry a long time, but I came with my goals in mind, and I stayed faithful to my goals, and here I am today as a broker. And we have here a nice brokerage here in Cape Coral, Florida. And we have about 21 agents. I do some trainings. I also do some mentoring, but I've seen it all. I have not seen as much as you've had, but definitely have been through some good times, some hard times. And right now the market is, heading to a good place. So I think it's definitely worth and satisfying being in this position.
I love it. And I commend you for, coming this far, because there's a lot of people that have not made it this far. Let's start off. Tell us a little bit about your story. When did you enter the world of real estate? Just to give everybody a little bit of your trajectory.
So my background is in the medical field, and I never imagined that I would be this deep into real estate, and especially that fast. Time flies. So I've been doing this since my daughter was a year old, so about 8 years now, 2017, 2018. And it's been a roller coaster. I did it all, from door knocking, sending mailers, handing out flyers, business cards, everything. Even 2 open houses a day, brutal. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I used to do it all. And when I started, I had a full-time job, but I had the blessing of being able to get my hours out of the way early in the morning, and then I will finish the rest late at night. So it was a lot of years of putting in the work. Here I am. I'm still standing. We've been growing steadily. And it's a very challenging position because what I struggled with in the beginning as a real estate broker was that I was giving everything for free.
Oh, tell us about that.
Yeah, I was not charging a monthly fee. I was not, everyone was on very comfortable commissions. But at the end of the day, my what I've come to realize, Lucy, is that when people do not sweat for things, when they don't put in work for things, they don't value it. And that is one issue in our industry right now from a brokerage perspective, that we feel like we just need to be available 24/7. We need to drop everything we're doing. We need to stop selling, to our own customers to be able to build someone else. Yes, I'm all about building. But at the end of the day, what do you bring to the table? Are you coachable? Are you somebody that's going to do what I'm telling you to do? Not because I'm just going to do it. I'm telling you from experience, because if you consistently do this in 30 days, I don't care what market you're in, somebody needs to answer you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's what I say to my agents every day. Do these things consistently, and you're gonna get results. And we are the life testimony of this. We've survived all these cycles.
Right. When you first got into real estate, I remember, I mean, I think we met early on, right? I always go back to that very beginning. We met early on while I was brokering. I was being the broker at my Century 21 company. Um,
Yes.
how long did you stay as an agent before you opened up your own brokerage?
So I hopped around a lot. You know,
Okay,
I
tell us
can
about that.
relate. I can relate to a struggling agent or somebody that is lost because I went through that. I went through when I met you. You were at 21, and I was so eager to learn, but I didn't know anything. You get
Mhm.
excited. You think you got your real estate license and you're gonna make tons of money. It doesn't work like that. You have to know that you got to get that foundation first, like building a house. You got to
Right.
start from the bottom. You got to have, what's going to hold up that career? What's going to continue to bring you steady income? Overall, little by little, you build yourself. You build yourself. The way that I built myself was by taking courses.
Okay.
You see me at every class of the association. I will go out of networking events because in this industry, when you get out of school, you know nothing. All you know is how to stay out of jail. That's all. The real experience comes when you're showing homes. When you know you don't. You think you can access that property. You don't even have a lockbox entry code. That's when you start sweating. Okay, when you're
Right.
negotiating a contract, somebody throws. I've been doing this for 20 years. Because, unfortunately, we have a lot of people like that in our industry where they think they know it all. And I feel like the newbies, we shouldn't baby them, but we should have some empathy for them because we were once in their shoes. You know?
Right.
So, honestly, what got me here, what got me to a faster track to being a broker was taking my education seriously and walk the walk, talk the talk.
Right.
What you say you're gonna do. That's what got me here in a faster time frame.
So Heidi, take us back a couple of years, right? So you got into real estate in 2018, correct?
Yes.
And then how many years later you opened up your own brokerage?
I actually opened up the brokerage. I want to say maybe I became a broker like 3 years into my being a real estate agent. 3 years
Okay.
into being a real estate agent, I got my broker's license and I was a broker associate. Shortly after, I opened the brokerage, and that was what I want to. I've been doing this about 4 years, also now 3.5 years. So everything happened pretty quickly, pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so take us back a few years. What did running a brokerage then look like compared to today?
Oh
What are
my.
the biggest changes and differences that you witness day in and day out?
See, so here's the thing: when you start a real estate brokerage, many realtors start because they have some previous experience having a team. I didn't have that. Okay. I
Okay.
went from being a realtor to a broker just because, a lot of my, my husband is a contractor. So we have a lot of, businesses connections that they want to, they want to deal with me directly. So that kind of pushed me. People said, "Why don't you get your broker's license? Get your own office." Well, I went ahead and did that, and I thought it was going to be a piece of cake. Well, no, I started with zero guidance. I got into it, and a few months into it, that's when I started realizing, what the hell did I get myself into? Because behind the scenes, you know, there's if you want to grow, because you can be an independent broker, and it can be only yourself, right,
Right.
producing. But if you want to grow, you have to offer things, you know, training, and that training comes with experience. You cannot teach what you don't know. You cannot
Hmm.
do that. A good leader is not going to say, "Well, get in the mud," if you've never been in the mud, or if you're not willing to get in the mud with them. You
Right.
know, another misconception is that brokers need to be available 24/7. I
Okay.
I see a lot of brokers advertising I'm available 24/7. It's gonna burn you down. It's gonna burn you down. I thank God I experienced things early on where I can make changes. So if
Hmm.
you're here, an agent might have interviewed with me back then and said maybe this doesn't work for me. Things change over time, right?
Right.
Because you adapt to new trends, you adapt to changes in the market, and you learn.
Right.
For example, me, I'm like, hey, now I offer more targeted mentorship opportunities, like one-on-one mentorship, and it's more streamlined, it's more organized. I didn't
Hmm.
do that back then. Also, different systems. I'm sure you've been through this. Maybe you're working with a CRM, and I mean, all CRMs do the job. If you have
Hmm.
a job, but for example, I started with a CRM that now with my experience, I'm like, well, it sucked. Now I have something that is much better, easier to use. So over time, a broker goes through the same growing pains that the agent does, but like a thousand times more intense, because we're also fighting behind the scenes on getting bills paid, getting all
Yes.
these systems paid, whether the agents produce or not. You know,
Right.
and that's one main thing for me, that now also with experience, you kind of recognize an agent that has talent and maybe just needs a little molding and coaching. Oh, then you recognize somebody that's just bullshitting you. I'm sorry to be straight up like that, because we all come with the intent of, we want to grow. What are you willing to do the hard stuff para, como, I'm going to say this in Spanish, sembrar la semilla
Hmm.
para poder cosechar los resultados después.
Right. Sow the seed so you can reap the
Yes.
results later. Yes. So, Heidi, now that you know what you know, because for everyone that's watching, and I want to encourage everyone to share this live so it gets to as many other brokers and realtors and team leaders out there that need to hear this reality, because this is a reality. Like, you are
Yes.
giving us access behind your broker's desk. And you and I both know this is not what we see on social media. This is not what we see on the commercials of, come join me and I'm going to give you the moon, the stars, and the world, and I'm going to make you. I think I hear some companies saying, we're going to make you into a, $200,000 earner in your first year, and it's crazy, Heidi. I want to go deeper into this, because the moment a person does their real estate state application, they become famous. They become so famous because everybody is sending them text messages and emails and invitations. Tell us what you feel, knowing what you now know. Tell us what you feel, knowing what you now know. agents coming into the industry must really understand to make it in real estate like you've made it, because you've made it. I mean, you've gone through the fire, you've gone through
Through the
the
motions. And so here's the deal. I like my advice to anyone is, you're gonna hear every broker wants you after you have your license. Every broker's gonna want you after you have your license. Shop around, just like if you were shopping around for a house. Have these conversations. What do you offer? But also, you got to keep in mind, this is not just you going to the brokerage asking the broker, what do you give me? I mean, as brokers, we also want valuable people that actually do the work. For example, you want leads, you know, are you somebody that's going to call those leads? So so this is the thing. A lot of agents think just because they got a real estate license, they're going to have business automatically.
Mhm.
Or let's say a broker is promising to you that they're going to offer you 100% commission. 100% of nothing is nothing, and
Right.
everything becomes free. You're just going to become a number at that brokerage. So from my experience is, have a conversation with this brokerage, maybe attend a free training that they offer. See what is the value there. And another thing is, get acquainted with the culture. Sometimes you don't fit in that environment, and that's okay. It's even okay to jump around a little bit. I did. You're not going to stay at the same brokerage very likely from the very beginning, unless you're somebody that's really happy at the place that you found on the first try. I went to like 8 or 9 different brokerages, and that's what allowed me to understand, okay, I hate it that they did this over there. Or you know what, this is something that I value, and that's what I bring to my company, to my brokerage. I bring, I like to keep my brokerage like a family. We run it like a family. Some people could care less about that. So you gotta
Right.
keep those things in mind. But when they're promising you, I'm gonna make you a star, or you're gonna make 300 grand your first year. It took me like 6 months to do my first sale. And
Mm.
the reason why it took me a long time, because, and I'm making excuses for myself, but I did have a full-time job. So I came in doing real estate part-time. That's another thing. In this industry, you have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in your brand. You have to go pay some videos, professional videos here and there. If you get a listing, for the love of God, please don't do crappy marketing, because first of all, you're looking out for your customer, for your seller, right? But this is
Right.
a portfolio that's going to follow you. Okay, this is a portfolio you're building yourself over time. Same thing with like coaching. Some people, I think there's a misconception where brokers are telling you get everything 100%. They're lying to you. And if they are saying that, try it. If they're giving you everything for free, try it and see if they walk the walk, talk the talk. Okay, but you're likely, they're not invested in you, because they cannot give you unlimited time. It's not possible. And if they do offer it to you, they might burn out. It happened to me. I was being so overly available for everyone that I had to take a break for myself.
Wow.
And that break was mental, was boundaries, and was even financial. I was
Wow.
overpouring into people, into
Right.
agents that weren't even producing. The
Mm.
it has to stay running. So for my future brokers or my current brokers struggling, be mindful of that. You gotta guide your people. But there's some people that they just want it all, and you
Mhm.
will even they will not grow. You know what I mean? Because they don't see the value in you. You make sure that the values align both ways.
So let's talk a little bit about that. You just said I came in as a broker. There's a lot of people that are, in the last 36 months have opened up their brokerages, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because it only makes, I mean, we think, hey, it only makes sense, right? If I'm producing and I'm a great producer. Let me go open up a brokerage. Knowing what you now know, going back and speaking to the Heidi that got the broker's license and was about to open, what would you do different?
Oh, you, Lucy, I am the type of person that I like to be proactive and get ready. Like, I had my business plan. Yeah, I had the name of the company. I had everything lined up. I thought I
Mhm.
had it together, right? But you get excited when you open up a brokerage. You're like, oh my God, this person wants to join me. We're growing. You cannot. You yes, get excited, but you have to know the business has to make sense. It
Mm.
has to be sustainable, and that's only for brokerages that want to grow. If you want to stay maybe with two agents, three agents, that's still manageable. But at some point, you people need support. You people need systems. If you're going to be hiring, a lot of agents, you want to have an offboarding process. You want to have a recruiting process. Even like with my back office system, like I make it easier for my agents where if they're going to write an offer, they have all these templates. Like I've worked behind the scenes on my brokerage so everything is streamlined. And I think the brokerages now, the brokers opening up brokerages now have it easier because back then, like especially you don't have no chat GPT, you didn't
Right.
have no Canva and all these tools and resources that we have now. We even have on-demand education at the board. We had to go
Wow.
physically over there. So
Right.
take advantage of that. That's brokers, make sure that you have your processes before you start hiring people. You don't want to have a reputation for that person is not organized.
Mm-hmm.
Leave because of this. This affects productivity. This affects growth.
You know what I love about you? I love that you. So first of all, I can tell you are a visionary. Visionaries know visionaries, right?
Yes.
And you've always been a go-getter. You and I understand what it is to play in a man's world
Oh yeah.
at this level, right? At this level. And wouldn't you agree that it is a head-to-head combat every single day?
I definitely agree. I think it's not even now. I don't think we're fighting the men versus women. I think it's against everyone at this point. And I like in my mind, I like to say there's no competition ever. I see people as I collaborate with people. I don't ever see anyone as a competition. So the real competition right now is people wanting to do their own rules or you know I'm gonna be greedy. I'm gonna look out for myself. At the end of the day, if you're a real estate agent or a broker, you're always taking care of somebody else. You're taking care of our
Yes.
business, you're taking care of the customers, and that's what people are forgetting.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
also, social media is there's so many agents. There's an agent in every corner, and everyone is doing these trends and the heels and the cartwheels and this and the hay and the water things. If you observe me, I don't do any of that. I don't like to do any of that. I am more of conversational, educational, more, I like to teach what people don't teach, the hard stuff. Okay.
Right. Yes.
And that's something that stays with you forever. A trend, a video, it's not. It's gonna help you, but I want to make sure that you know what you're doing. You comprehend a contract. You understand that an executed contract has all the initials and all the boxes and everyone's signatures,
Right.
to be executed. I want my agents, like I always tell my agents, there's two sides in any transaction.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
want my agents to be the ones that are saving it or educating the other one that doesn't know.
Right.
That's my goal.
So now let's go a little bit deeper, right? Because I know when you and I spoke about doing this podcast, you said, Lucy, I'm going to bring the real, the raw. This is not going to be, a pretty session of, you know, fantasizing and the world is perfect.
Claro.
So I'm going to ask you this question, and I want you to speak to all those brokers that are out there that are sitting behind the desk, that are going to be watching this on replay, that somebody is going to hear your words and say, "Oh my God, she knows what I'm going through," right?
Yeah.
When you close the doors of your office and you take off the broker hat and you kick off your shoes, what are the things that you know are the real challenges that you and other people in your position are going through that keep you awake at night?
Like you said, I'm a visionary. I'm always trying to do everything better. I try to
Mhm.
make the processes for my agents better. In we get backlash for that sometimes as our brokers. Sometimes agents cannot, they cannot accept a change and they leave you. They leave the
Mhm.
brokerage, or they don't understand that behind the scenes, let's say, like at a point in my life, and this is a very delicate topic. Point in my life as a brokerage, I was giving everything for free, and
Mm.
and that was not even too long ago. That was a few years ago, and I was like, man, is it even worth it me being a broker, right?
Wow.
I was not producing. I stopped producing, um, and I was focusing just on training for the love of training. And it doesn't work like that, you know. At the end of the day, everything is negotiable, but taking care of others can run you down. And
Mm.
I think that is the biggest lesson that I've learned. I know my value as a broker. I know that I teach from my, I sometimes I do got that tough loving in me. I'm like, I've taught you this 4 times already. I have it recorded. When is it gonna, and that's where now I'm like, I'm guarding my time more. I'm like, okay, now I have a questionnaire. And
Okay.
let's, like, what do you want to gain out of this? And,
Right.
and it's the same thing with customers. You have to be okay with letting someone go. You've been with me this long and you haven't even done a rental. Maybe I'm not the broker for you.
Right.
There's a big misconception with the role of a broker to an
Come
agent.
on. Here we
So
go.
the thing is, as a broker, if you look at what our responsibilities are, we just oversee
Yes.
compliance, and run a brokerage, the behind the scenes, right?
Right.
We are not mentors. We are not coaches. We don't give you leads. We don't need to answer the phone 24/7 to burn every fire.
Right.
So I think people have become so accustomed to brokers just giving you everything and for free, that the quality has gone down. For like, okay, I'm gonna shop around and I'm gonna go over there and just get everything for free. Well, no, you know what? I respect myself. I'm not available 24/7. Um, I can sit down with you and strategize on how you can elevate, how you can
Mhm.
do this better. But at the end of the day, that is that has cost me time,
Mhm.
tears,
Mm.
a lot of money spent in, for example, contracts. Right? I have CRM contracts that I let my agents use it, and nobody uses it after I've trained you a million times on it. So I've learned how to guard my time and how to offer what's really important to agents. Like, if you just got your license and your goal is to close a house in 3 months, I know what's going to work for you, but I
Right.
need a statement from you to do this so that you
Right.
can be successful. I've learned how to make it easier for them and for myself.
I love the fact that you brought clarity to what does the state say are really the responsibilities of a broker. It's to give you a location to hang your license.
Exactly.
It's to supervise you, whether realtors like to be supervised or not, because everybody gets into real estate to be independent, my own boss, do what I want. But it's a broker's responsibility to supervise the licensee, sales associate, and really to, keep everything in compliance, make sure that records are kept for 5 years if everything is okay, 7 years if there's been a lawsuit or any legal issue. But I also understand that, we're there to facilitate, because obviously, like you said, every day you're thinking about your people. Every day you're thinking about each one of them. You see Michael, I'm just using names. You see Michael and you say, Michael's so good. Why is he struggling? Or you see Cindy and you say, oh, Cindy, if she would only change her mindset, if she would only stop doing what I tell her she shouldn't do, she would be so much better. Or you think of Sandy and you say, oh my goodness, Sandy's just spinning her wheels. I mean, she's like so unfocused. She's so undisciplined. Or you see, whoever, and you're constantly thinking about these people. So let me ask you this question.
Mhm.
What would you say is the worst habits that you are seeing agents, not just yours, everybody's as humans, um, the worst habits that they're continuously doing, that if they would just stop doing, they would really start to win?
So habits. In my opinion, this is very important. I'm going to say this. I think agents, I don't know how they got this in their minds, but you don't need to wake up at 4 in the morning to be a top producing agent. Matter of fact, not even a top producing agent. There's food for everybody. If you want, if that's your goal, great. But if you don't have to get up at 4 in the morning to be successful. There's days that I wake up at 8 in the morning. I'm exhausted. You know what I mean? Or, in my time frame, I sit here on my desk and I'm focused. I'm hyper focused. And, I get my things done. But real estate is a continuous cycle of patterns. You have to prospect. Okay. You have to have that time. You have to have your time for paperwork. That's one thing that I see in a lot of agents. Like, and mind you, I have a really good system. I have a really good system of things that are organized and pre-templated. But agents need to understand that an executed contract has this, and this. You need to take courses in that, okay, when you get to that level. So
Mhm.
it's not only recording on social media, okay? What substance do you bring to the table? Also, if you're gonna do something, do it consistently before you give up. Try open houses at least for maybe 2, 3 months before you give up. Okay,
Mm.
then jump on to the next thing. But you gotta try to do everything, because what works for me may not work for you. Okay,
Right.
one thing that I'm seeing, a lot of people get unmotivated when they've barely done something. You know, and that's a huge deal, because I'm here because of all the mistakes that I've made. I've tried even dropping by houses with little popcorn bags that had a little corny saying, just popping by, get it, like a little,
Right.
I've done it all. And
Right.
before you say, oh, this doesn't work for me, you just got your real estate license. You have to go through some struggles before you get
Mhm.
to the success line. That's me.
So I love what you're saying. Let's start closing out with talking about the future. What do you really feel? You've been an agent, you've been a brand new broker. You're a broker now in one of the worst markets. This is one of the worst markets. Anybody that has been in real estate for less than 15 years is for the first time seeing, okay? And I can say that with expertise and authority because I've been in all seasons of the market.
Right.
2000 when it was blooming, 2005 when it was booming, 2008 when it crashed, 2012 where I was like a wounded soldier, not even knowing how I was going to make it. 2015 when it started to make its comeback and everything started getting easy, and that's the market we've been in. So let's think about the future. what do you really see happening? What do you feel? What would your predictions be if realtors don't change their habits, if they don't change their mindsets, if they don't start doing what you used to do? Two open houses a day, people. Not one,
I remember those days.
not one a day, not one a week, two a day. Tell us.
So my advice is, and my what I foresee is, it gets better. It gets better, and I'm not talking about in general. I'm talking about for look at your life as a realtor. Stop focusing on what somebody else is doing. Do the hard work, and it's gonna get better. Yes, we are in a tough market. I am, I sell real estate myself, and who better to guide you than somebody that's out there in the field negotiating, somebody that's out there fighting these battles of a listing that's going stale because we overpriced it because the seller doesn't want to listen to you. Okay. So at the end of the day, you need to change your habits. If you're working with sellers, you need to grow some cojones. Okay.
These ovaries for women.
Okay. And I think you have to be able to face things, the reality of things, and speak up before things get worse. And that goes for decisions. If you're not producing at the brokerage where you're at, maybe it's time to figure out, I got to go somewhere else and try something different. Same thing if you have a listing. This listing is stale. Are you going to keep it? You're going to keep over promising and under delivering? Are you, doing the hard work? Or maybe it's just overpriced? But stop wasting time. You need to stop and discover what's the obstacle. That's how I approach things. I approach things like that as a big chunk in general, and also in my everyday activities. What is my biggest thing? What I want to tackle right now? What's most important right now? In the same thing as big obstacles, I've had to, as a broker, I've had to even let go of agents because your values do not align with ours, and we're getting, you're doing your own thing. Have integrity. You know, this is a small circle. Real estate in Southwest Florida is a small circle, and that stuff, that conversations travel just as fast as good conversations. So try to keep your reputation clean. Try to do well by others. Collaborate with others. Doesn't matter if you're in another brokerage. That's the big thing right now, and that's what I preach to my agents. We work here as a family because, for example, we support one another. My girls record, and I say girls because it's mainly girls here, but we welcome the guys. So I like to collaborate because sometimes having somebody else there gives you a little more sense of security. Go if you are not confident recording, go with invite another agent. It doesn't matter if they're in another brokerage. We all here for the same thing, to service the consumer at a higher level, and give them quality. And that's where a lot of people have failed because they think selling a house, anyone can do it. Let's say sometimes I get customers that you said, I'm going to get my real estate license because you have streamlined your processes so well that they think that this is super easy.
Yes.
But no, I think the challenge here is the agents getting education on what's important and what matters. And also, you got to drop the ball to them as well. You have to put in the work and you have to be consistent, and then you're going to see results.
I love it. Heidi, are you currently hiring real estate professionals that align with your culture, your mindset, and your business? Tell us about that.
I am hiring. Actually, we recently made the switch to an 100% commission brokerage model, and I also have the opportunities to help agents if they just finish school, or if they don't know what they're doing, because believe it or not, there's people right now that you think, and I'm talking about social media, you think they're like, they sell a lot. Social media is fake.
A fantasy land.
It's a fantasy world. You sometimes think like, and this happened to me. I get agents where I think they're, know what they're doing. They give me contracts and they give me paperwork that I'm like, oh my God, I really thought this person knew what they're doing. And it's not to judge them, But as brokers, we're doing a very poor job. So with you, Lucy, I know you guys are with EXP, and I function like EXP because I was with EXP once before. I like all my paperwork to be submitted accurately. And,
Hmm.
and I've had people that started with me and they didn't know how to make sure a contract is executed.
Hmm.
I'm proud to say that I transformed those agents. That now they're like, okay, they give me everything, all my signatures and initials. And it's very important to join a brokerage that has that respect for compliance.
For compliance,
Yeah,
for
because
staying out of legal issues,
oh yeah,
for
yeah,
functioning as a professional. Like, I mean, real estate is the only, first of all, real estate is the only industry that you can get into with just 63 hours, pass a state exam, and have the opportunity of making more money than a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, an attorney. What you,
the
what
thing
people don't understand is once you get your state license, that's when the learning really begins.
exactly.
And if you're not learning, you're going to flunk. You're going to flunk.
Exactly. I mean, I want to be able to look at my customer when I first start real estate and I sell them a house and look at them 7 years later and they still trust me.
Of course.
So in a lot of my clients, like I don't really lead generate for myself, it's more for my agents. My customers are
Good for
customers
you.
from the beginning. I literally just closed on a property uh, 2 weeks ago from my first client. My first client in real estate. I just sold
Uh-huh.
the house. So, and this is what agents should be doing. You're creating long-term relationships. You want
Right.
to go to realtor for the family. So it's
Yes.
imperative that you learn how to do things right from the first time.
So where can people reach you? First of all, I'm going to say this publicly. Um, like I've always said, I resonate with you because I've been there, I've done that. I know what it takes. I know what it feels like. I know the highs, the lows, the valleys, the wilderness, and I also know the summit, the wins, the lessons, the
Yes.
feel good moments. But that comes with a price. So I acknowledge you and I respect you and I commend you for paying the price.
Yes.
Uh, Anyone that wants to really make it in real estate and hear the truth from a broker that is not selling you on a story, that is not giving you a fly by night, that is not giving you a bait and switch, that's going to break it down for you with the real. Go see Heidi. Go sit with Heidi and say, look, I heard you on Agents in the Trenches. Can we meet? She's going to tell you the truth. She's going to tell you the truth. If you want to go, hallucinate somewhere and you want to go live in a fantasy land and you want to go drift and flounder, Heidi's not going to hold you hostage. Am I right, Heidi?
My biggest thing, I'm telling you from experience, I wasted. Matter of fact, I didn't waste because that's why I'm here because I had to go through those things.
Yeah.
But the type of person that you and I are is we want to save you that hassle, los trompezones, this
Right.
lingua, but
Stumbling blocks. Yeah, the
no,
stumbles.
roadblocks. Let's get to success a little bit quicker than you would if you were just listening to all these voices and people out there and do this and do that. You shouldn't be hopping around from brokerage to brokerage. If you do, great. You're gonna learn, but it's gonna
Right.
take you longer. We
Right.
have we have the outline. I mean, we're successful. You see it with our agents. You see us constantly putting stuff out there, trainings to build you. I've even, the way that I'm recruiting now is I'm sending my flyers, inviting all outside agents to join our Zooms every Tuesday, which we have on tonight. In the Zooms that I'm doing now, I kind of changed the way that I do things. I like to see what is the obstacle. What are agents struggling right now? Are you struggling with listings and exposure or overpricing listings? Buyer broker agreements.
Right.
Is got it down
When do you do your Zooms?
every Tuesday evening at 6. And
I'd
it's
say.
30 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer. But It's people are busy. I want to narrow it down to what's important. They listen, they interact. We even do some role playing. That's
So if anybody wants to come and say, listen, I just want to take a sneak peek into your 6 p.m. Tuesday Zoom, they can come and do that. And they can
yeah,
check it out.
yeah. I have
Um,
an itinerary because I like to be proactive, and I know people got things going on, so I have an itinerary of the topics that will be discussed, and I even share a worksheet like that people can take notes.
Heidi, you're going to be big in our industry. You're going to be big in our industry because not only do you have the maturity that is required, you've got the heart. I can tell you have the heart, to lead agents, which is not easy. And most of all, you have the transparency and the vulnerability to call it what it is, because you said something very powerful. You said everybody on social media is making money. And that's not true. Let me give you some stats for you and for everybody else that's watching. In Southwest Florida, we have 20,000 realtors that are active with one of the associations, whether it's, Naples, Bonita, Royal Palm Coast, or Port Charlotte. 20,000. Out of those 20,000, 60% of them have closed 0 transactions this year.
Oh, yeah.
0 transactions this year. Okay. That means 12,000 agents have closed no transactions this year. Out of those 20,000, 15% have closed between 1 and 3. Heidi, there's a lot of opportunity out there for you to be the solution if people are ready, willing, and able to really follow a leader that is willing to lead. And so I just wanted to share that because I think it's important for people to understand that never before have we lived in the history of real estate, and I've been doing this since 2000. I've never before seen, since the year 2000, the urgency for collaboration.
Oh, yeah.
We come from a world where brokers don't talk to brokers. I'm a broker, Heidi's a broker. We're not in competition.
Yeah.
There's no competition. As a matter of fact, everyone just heard me support her to recruit more, to grow more, to rise higher, because this is the new currency in real estate.
Oh, yeah.
So what last words, because I want to respect your time, and I love the fact that you came on and we had this conversation. I hope it's not the last time.
Yes.
What last words do you want to leave our audience with?
Well, my last words are of encouragement. I know a lot of agents are struggling right now. Last year was a tough year for everybody, and it's getting better. But I encourage you to get with someone. I know Lucy has coaching as well. To get with someone that really is gonna take your journey seriously. Okay, but most importantly, you take your journey seriously. You have to do the hard work. It doesn't get any easier, but you have to plant those seeds. And the more time you waste, the more you're gonna prolong that growth.
Yes.
Advice.
Thank you so much, Heidi. And I'm here for you, girl. I'm here behind the scenes applauding you. Keep rising, keep shining. You've got what it takes. And I'm so happy to see you growing and continuing to thrive.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, Lucy.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you on the next episode, everyone. Don't forget to join us every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m.
Bye-bye.
I got a condo in Manhattan. Baby girl, what's happening? You and your ass invited, so go and get to clapping. Go pop it for a plan, pop it for me. Turn around and drop it for a plan. Drop it for me.